This lesson series is all about programming. We're going to be learning how to program, and by the end, we're going to be able to code a maze-solving robot. So before we get into all of that, I want to talk a little bit about what programming is, what it can be used for, and why it is such a cool skill to have. So first off, what even is a program? A program is a series of commands that perform a certain task when executed by a computer. And programming is just making programs. So here are 3 different examples of programs that are doing the same thing in 3 different languages. The first one is a Java program, and in it we are printing out hello world. The next one is a C++ program, and we are also printing out hello world. And the last one is a program in VIPLE, which is also printing out hello world. So when we look at these 3 different programs, there are some pretty big differences between the Java and C++ programs and the VIPLE program. The VIPLE program, and VIPLE in general, is a graphical programming language, which means that instead of typing out the words, so for example in Java, we see the line that says system.out.println hello world. Instead of doing that and having to type out those words, in VIPLE, we just drag boxes and connect them. So we have a data box connected to a dialog box. And those 2 boxes alone are what make our program. So VIPLE is going to be a great way for us to be able to learn how to program without having to worry about remembering exactly which words we need to use to get what we need done. So now let's talk about some of the different applications of programming. And one of the first ones that comes to mind is self-driving cars. This is a really cool technology that we're seeing lots of advancements in. And so that is actually what we're going to be working towards in our lesson series. By the end of our lesson series, we're going to be able to program a simulated self-driving car. Another way that programming is being used is with games. From games on a phone or a tablet to on your computer or game consoles like Xbox, all of these different games have to have programmers to be able to code certain aspects of the game. So game design and programming in games is a really big field that people who study computer science want to go into. Next is robotics. When we see all these different robotics, from manufacturing robots to the ones that look like this guy who are trying to look more like people, all of these robots have to be coded to perform the actions that they are trying to do. And one of my favorite ways that programming gets used is with CGI and animation. Animated movies are some of my favorite types, and seeing how advanced the technology has gotten in the last few years is making it even more exciting. And to be able to have these really detailed faces and hair texture and things like that, we need to have some pretty intense programming that goes along with it. And one last example of how programming is used is with websites and apps. Different websites and applications need to be programmed so that when you click on a YouTube video link, for example, you get directed to the page with that YouTube video. And when you click on the play button, the YouTube video plays. Each of these actions have to be coded in addition to just displaying all of the content that you see. And my favorite reason as to why I think you should learn and enjoy learning to program is because programming is cool. And this is actually a real line of code. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but this is a real line of code that could exist. So I hope that these different examples have made you a little bit more excited about learning to code with me in this lesson series. And I look forward to teaching you. I'm going to show you how to use VIPLE. And to do that, we are going to make the Hello World program that I just showed. By going through the Hello World program, we'll get to see how to use the basics of VIPLE. So in VIPLE, we have all of our activities on the left-hand side. We have these basic ones and then some general purpose services. And that's what we're gonna need for now. And then in this large gray area in the center, that's where we can drag and drop our activity boxes. And then on the right, we have some settings in case some of the activities need settings. And then at the top, we have our expected functions like saving, new, and then this green start button is what we're going to use to run our program. So let's build our Hello World program. And to do that, we're going to need a data activity to store the phrase Hello World. So then we're just going to type into the box, Hello World. And then we are going to connect that to a dialog box, which is how we will see the phrase pop up. So then we'll drag that to the middle of our workspace. And then we can connect them, and that's how we will tell VIPLE that we want to give the Hello World phrase to the dialog box. And then that is going to bring up this connections box, and that's going to tell us it's going to give us some options for what we want this to be. So it is getting its data from the data box, and then it's asking us, do we want to have an alert dialog or a prompt dialog? And we just want an alert dialog because we're just going to output the phrase. If we wanted to ask for user input like we will in the next one, we'll do the prompt dialog. But we're going to leave this as is for now. And then that is all that we need for our program. So now we can run it, and we can just hit the green start button. And so we will see we have the running program, and then, oh, it disappeared. Here we go. We can also see the Hello World dialog box pop up. And that is all that is to the Hello World program. So we can exit out of the dialog, and then we can stop running our program. The next program that we're going to make is an input-output program. So this time we're going to tell the user hello, and then we're going to ask them for their name. So to do that, the first thing we're going to need is a dialog box. And then we're going to right-click and say change dialog type. And then we're going to want to use the prompt dialog, which will prompt our user for some input. And we're going to hit OK. And then it's going to ask us for the prompt text and then the default value. So we're going to say the prompt text is, what is your name? And the default value, we're going to leave blank. So that would be like placeholder text where it's that light gray color for you to put something in there. And then we're just going to hit OK, and then that'll store that setting in that simple dialog box. And next, we're going to connect it to a calculate box. And then let me show you what we're going to do here. We're going to type in the box. This needs to be in quotes. Nice to meet you. We're going to do a comma, space, end quote. Do plus value. And let me explain what's going on here. What we want our calculate box to do is to essentially say, nice to meet you, comma, and then the name that was entered. And so nice to meet you is the words that we're going to say, and then we're going to do plus value. And value is the word or input that we got from that prompt dialog box. So when we connect these two boxes with our line, this calculate box now gets this value from the prompt dialog. And then now we want another dialog box to then give that output. So we're going to connect this, and we're going to say, okay, we want that set of words to go into our dialog box. So this one is just going to be a standard alert dialog. And then we're going to hit OK. And then now this simple program, when we run it, let's do that. So we're going to run the program. Let me pull these back over. So that first prompt box asks us what is our name, and my name is Emily. So I'll type in my name and hit OK. And then we calculated our new sentence and we sent it to our alert dialog box. And then we can see that here where our program now says, nice to meet you, Emily. So that is how we would make a simple program of getting input from the user and then outputting that information back to the user in a small extension of that Hello World program we just learned. So we can just hit OK and we can stop, and now that program has ended.